everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this week's podcast. I am one of your FWBs, Read Reviews by Jess, or just Jess.
And I am your other FWB, Booked with Emily, or just M. And today we are joined by a very special guest, Amazon bestselling author and the creator of all of my dream men, Elsie Silver.
Hi! It's me.
Hi, it's me, the creator of your dream men. Hi, Elsie. We are so excited that you are here and that you're joining us. We wanted to start by giving you a huge congrats on a very, very successful release of Powerless.
Thank you.
Congrats.
So iconic. What was that like for you?
Kind of unbelievable. I think I still haven't totally processed it. Like I was like, It was the first release ever where I said I wasn't going to sit at my desk all day. Like usually I respond and it's like you're in this weird zone. And I was like, no, I'm going out today. I'm going to go to the pool. I'm going to go in the steam room. And I did, but I got there and I was like, hey, I'm going to check my rank one more time before I go in there. And it was like 10:30 in the morning here. And I like refreshed it and it was just like, boom, number one. And so I didn't go in right away because I had to cry in my car for a little bit first.
That's so amazing. So, were you like, I guess, were you expecting that sort of kind of like reception to it, or were you just so shocked?
No, I wasn't expecting that. Like I could feel that people were excited for the book, which is right. But it's so hard to know like what that translates to. And like Heartless was really well received and I knew that people were excited about this book, but you just never know, right? Yeah. And in your head, like in my head, I am constantly like, oh my God, like what if people figure out that like I suck? Or like, you know what I mean? Like it's like I never like expect it to be that good. So it's always like a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very well deserved. We both
thank you.
So we were not surprised at all.
Thank
not
you.
Surprised. Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit later, but first we're gonna play a game. So this game is called Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
Okay.
Yeah. Also known as just Smash or Pass.
We're trying to be creative over here.
I like it. I like it
a little bit.
Em, do you want to describe how this will go?
Yeah, so basically we're just gonna like give you a few things, like, you know, we have a list of things, and you're either gonna save a horse, which is pass, or ride a cowboy, which is smash. And if you get confused, you can just say smash or pass because we might get confused.
Okay.
So that's basically it, but we'll kick it off. So, save a horse, ride a cowboy for the daddy kink.
Like where they actually say it?
Or they just like have it. Like, yeah. Like they just
like they call him daddy?
Oh, okay. I'll save a horse.
Okay.
I would also say
I love the age gap, but the actual like verbiage and like vote. Yeah.
Not for you.
It's not for me. It's not for me. Yeah.
That's fair. All right.
That's fair. Okay. Save a horse, ride a cowboy, morally gray, male main character.
Ride a cowboy.
I
was like, ride a horse.
Ride them both. I don't know.
Ride a horse.
We agree. At least I agree.
I agree. Elsie, I told you I was reading Frontrunner, and
go ahead again.
We've got in Frontrunner the male main character is a bit more gray, and I see your dog in the mirror behind you.
There's three of them. There's three of them in here, so they might just. She's actually the one you can see is deaf. She's like 16. I actually don't know. Gosh. I don't know what she's staring at right now.
That's so cute.
She's just confused.
I love it. Okay, anyways, back on track. Got distracted by the dog.
Okay, we love Stefan.
Yes, we love Stefan. Go ahead, Em.
Great. Save a horse, ride a cowboy for the pregnancy trope.
I'll ride a cowboy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll ride a cowboy. I mean, not every book, but personally, I can't read just like the same trope over and over again.
Yeah.
Or write it. So I like it for variety.
Yeah.
I like it too.
I agree.
I know some people.
And like, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Just like, I don't know, now having seen my husband become a dad or like going to playgrounds and stuff, it's like, I don't totally differentiate between single dad and pregnancy tropes so long as the guy is like they bring that like daddy vibe to the book. I'm like, who cares? Are they single? Are they with the mom? Like, it's like hot to me no matter what, you know?
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, definitely agree.
Okay. Did I say that or did you?
No, it's you.
Okay. I'm excited. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Save a horse, ride a cowboy, city boys.
Oh, ride a cowboy. I like the city boy.
She likes the city boy. Unexpected.
I wasn't expecting that either. That's interesting.
She said she can do both. It's fine.
Yeah. City boys move to small towns all the time.
That is true.
That's true. Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Okay. Save a horse, ride a cowboy for forbidden romance.
Ride a horse. No. I knew that was going to happen. Ride a cowboy. Forbidden, even just like a little bit forbidden. I love it. That's like my go. Yeah.
Yeah. Right there with you.
It makes every book better. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
This one is an obvious one. Save a horse, ride a cowboy, smut.
Yeah, ride a cowboy. Always.
Always.
It's not even an option.
No, every time my husband's like, you should try this book. I'm like, is there sex in it? And he's like, well, no. And I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want it.
We're on the same page, Elsie. That's always my first question. I'm like,
I don't care if it's a fairy or a monster or a country boy or a city boy. Like, I don't care about that. I'll read any genre with it, but there has to be romance.
Obviously. That's the way to do that. I think that's amazing. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let's get into the real stuff now.
Yes.
Okay, the real stuff.
The real stuff. So, tell us about you, Elsie. I feel like for a lot of our listeners, we've been pushing your books on them for a while now. And I feel like they're not new to who you are, but give us a little bit about your background, kind of how you started, how it's going, just so we can get to know you.
Yeah. Well, I'm Canadian. I actually was born in Calgary, which is like the main city that Chestnut Springs is set outside of, but I've lived all over Western Canada. So right now I live just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, which is actually close to where my first Gold Rush Ranch series is set. So I love to keep my series local. I love this part of the world. I grew up riding horses really, really competitively. Like went to high school part-time so that I could travel and compete and train. And I went on to get went to college for finance.
Wow.
So putting that to good use. So I finished that and then was like, oh my gosh, I just want to ride horses. So I started my own training and coaching business for a while. And then I got pregnant and my husband got a new job and we moved to Saskatchewan, which is like in the middle of the country. And it's an underrated part of the country, but there just isn't a lot there. So I just did like the stay-at-home mom thing for a bit. And that's when like my mom was a professor. And so she kind of had me I was always good with words, editing kind of stuff. And at college I was actually the sports and entertainment editor for our college paper.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of got that under my belt and started doing some editing on like academic work, which was perfect little contract gigs while I was home with a baby. And then the pandemic hit. and all that like academic field research that was happening just stopped, and so did my work. Yeah. And I was stuck at home with a 3-year-old, and my mom was like, you got to do something for yourself. Like, you can't just be there. So that's when I started getting up at like 5 a.m. And I started writing. And for years I had been like, oh, I have these ideas. I have like a little note about like in a little workbook or in my phone. And she was really the driving force. She was like, you got to write, just write. And I was like, no, I edit. And she was like, no, you got to write. Because you have these ideas. And I was the writer that was polishing off, 3-4 books a week at that point too. Yeah. So I felt like I'd, done my homework on the genre. So I just started fiddling with it. I thought I was doing it for fun. And then I had this book and I was like, what am I going to do? So that kind of took me down the whole self-publishing rabbit hole. And here I am.
That's crazy. What a journey. Yeah. I was not expecting like the trajectory there.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. It's like a comedy of errors in a lot of ways. I just have like kind of stumbled into it. But I'm super happy to be here. And it's like, it's changed my life. So that's, special for sure.
It's amazing. How fascinating. So was your first book part of the Gold Rush Ranch series?
Yeah. Off to the Races is my first book. Mm-hmm.
And then
book 1 in that series.
So you've written 7 books.
I guess 8
now in like 3 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I've gone pretty fast.
This is such a good time to start your career, because I feel like Bookstagram and Book Talk and just reading in general has just taken off these past few years. So do you think did you expect when you, like you said, you wrote these books, or the first book, and you thought it was just a hobby, did you see yourself getting to this point, 8 books later?
No, not at all. Not at all. I kind of imagined that I would go back to editing, and that maybe I could keep doing this and it would be like we could maybe take a vacation once a year with what I made on it. I wasn't planning to have it be, my sole source of income at all. And yeah, it was good timing, and it was good timing even for me in my life. I've had moments of oh, why didn't I do this earlier? When my mom first told me I should do it. But I wouldn't have been, as secure as I was already very fortunate to be. My son, it's easier because he's at school now, or he was in preschool when it started. I started having those little bits of freedom that I hadn't had in years. So it was a nice way for me to sort of wean myself into a full-time job.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Awesome. That's so fun. Kudos to you.
Wait,
you. Emily and I tried to write a book once, as a joke. Well, it wasn't a joke.
It wasn't a joke.
We really thought
it is now.
It is now. Yeah.
We really thought we were gonna write the next New York Times bestseller, and we got to the sex scene, and we were like, okay, this is good. That's it. We're just gonna leave it.
Yeah,
this is not for us.
Yeah.
It's not easy, at least for us. It's not easy.
Well, and I think I was lucky in that, I wasn't involved in, the Bookstagram world. I was that reader that just browses Amazon, and I was, ravenous, but I wasn't in the kind of, that sphere. Yeah. And so I didn't really I hadn't watched other people write a first book, or, I think I just, kind of waltzed into those first couple books, seriously lacking any sort of self-doubt or perspective, because I just was well, I'll just do it, no problem. So that was probably a saving grace, because I did prove to myself that I could do it before all that other pressure piled on. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That makes total sense.
And what a debut too. We'll talk about Gold Rush Ranch in a little bit, but amazing. Let's talk about Chestnut Springs though, because I feel that is what everybody is waiting for. Reckless, and you just finished writing Reckless, which congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you kind of give us, for those of our listeners who haven't read, can you give a high level overview of what this series is about?
Okay, yeah. So Chestnut Springs is a fictional town, kind of set just southwest of Calgary. So kind of butting up onto the Rocky Mountains, but where it's still super flat. So you've got that prairie sort of vibe. It's just north of Montana if you're looking for like a similar aesthetic. And it is based in, Chestnut Springs is the name of the town. And we start off kind of meeting the Eaton family, who own a ranch just outside of the town called Wishing Well Ranch. And it kind of just goes through, I want to say the family, but also friends and acquaintances of them. It's not specific only to the Eatons or only to the ranch. But there's like definite found family vibes. And we just kind of start off with two of the brothers and then kind of like the adopted brother. And then we're going to like a sister-in-law and a friend.
Ooh.
And so it's just kind of like working through all the connections of that family. Yeah. And that town, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? So wait, first of all, what time is it there? You're on the west, so it's like 9 there.
It's like
right?
9:30. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Good
Also,
morning.
too, yeah, right?
It's all
This
good.
Probably makes me sound so dumb, but like when I think of Canada, like I don't think of like cowboys and farming. Like I was like baffled when I was like, oh my God, there's ranches and like horses in Canada. Like I don't know why that was so surprising to me, but I guess if you're right above Montana, that kind of makes more sense.
Yeah, and Alberta especially, like the Alberta and into Saskatchewan and Manitoba, agriculture and farming, like the soil, the weather, it definitely lends itself to all of that, like canola and wheat and cattle. And then if you move into British Columbia, more near where I am, there's a lot of like dairy farming that happens too. So, I mean, Canada, it's so big. Like people don't actually understand how big it is. So it's like the cities are very populated and then there's a lot of farmland in between, especially in Alberta. And I don't think it's like cowboy culture the same way that it would be in Texas or something. It's obviously there's no like accent. Sometimes people tag me and they're like, this is how so-and-so sounds in my head. And I'm like, well, he's not from Texas, but it's cute, right? But it's definitely like, I don't know if I see as many people like out and about in a cowboy hat, although they would be on their ranch or whatever. We've got the Stampede, which is like a huge event for in Calgary every year. That's like a rodeo fair, entire city sort of like party it turns into. People call Calgary Cowtown. So it's definitely like a little bit of the culture in that area for sure. Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting. I just wouldn't have thought that. So it's like, learn something new, I guess. But you're right. Canada is massive. So it makes sense that there's a lot
like
of
little pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you go.
Sorry. I was going to say with Chestnut Springs, now that we know a little bit about your background and you told us like you rode horses, like that was such a big part of your life. Was that kind of why you wrote this series that did involve like the ranch and riding, horses? That was so just kind of, I don't know, inspo to you?
Totally, especially with like the first series, which is more horse racing. It just felt something that I knew and was really comfortable kind of weaving in. And then this series was like kind of maybe more back to my roots, like where I grew up, where I was born, where my family all still lives. And so I do love that setting. And I love the scenery. I love the animals. And it's just like, it's a setting I feel really comfortable in.
Yeah.
It's a setting I feel comfortable in.
Same. We're moving up there. Jess, let's go to Cowtown.
There we go. Love it.
On my way. So when you were writing this, did you have kind of an idea of what all the books in the series would be? Who the characters were going to be? In Gold Rush Ranch, we kind of get the perspective from Violet, who is the Eaton sister. So did you know that these books were kind of going to be her family and how that was going to carry out?
Yeah, I did. I think I had an idea. Like, again, at the beginning there, I didn't totally know what I was doing, but I think that a lot of what I do is just from reading so much romance. And I knew, like, you know, there are authors who drop those little breadcrumbs, and I didn't know if I was necessarily going to go to Chestnut Springs, but I wanted to, like, leave myself that option because it worked with her backstory, that she had this group of, like, overprotective brothers that she kind of, like, needed space from. And so it was always like, you know, I gave myself that option to go that way. And I try to do that even now, like, leave myself, you know, even one character that could pull, you know, the universe into a whole nother town or into a whole different direction. But I kind of knew I was going to do it, especially like as I wrote more books and kind of learned what I was doing and saw what people were responding to or enjoying. I just knew, and I knew that I wanted to write a bull rider. I like really was like, I want to write a bull rider. So that was definitely like the draw to Flawless for me. And then I always know, like when I started this series, I had the titles for all 5 books, the characters, like the couple for each book I had planned, and then the tropes for those books. So I'm not a big plotter, in terms of like actual scenes, but I kind of know, like I kind of knew, like I have like these big scenes in my mind, and then the tropes kind of help, you know, propel the story. So yeah, I kind of knew that.
I was literally reading Stefan's book from Gold Rush Ranch, and you said relentless a couple times in there, and I was like, this is the book title, and then it was Reckless, and I was like, oh, maybe that's not it. So if
anytime I say anything in a book, people will send me, they're like, you said that she sounded breathless. Like, is that the and I can't use words with less anymore. People are guessing out here. Yeah.
So speaking of I haven't read the Gold Rush Ranch series, actually. It's on my TBR, but I did start with Chestnut Springs. So I'm very familiar with those men. So,
yes.
Speaking of those men, I have a question for you with Rhett, Cade, and Jasper.
She knows it's coming.
Kill. You saw this coming a mile away, honestly.
Yeah. I came across something on social media the other day that I wasn't supposed to see. And I was like, wow, this question is rude.
You don't have to kill anyone. You could just send them to the state.
No, she'll kill someone. She'll kill someone.
Okay, so my answer for this one is, if I can get it out, fuck Rhett, because bull rider, long hair, and there's just, to me, something like super like sexy about him that I probably will never get over. I just really love that book, and I really love Rhett. And I will marry Jasper because he is the perfect blend of sweet and snuggly and super sexy in the bedroom. And I love that about him. And I'm going to have to kill, this is all my reading. I'm going to get like hate mail for this probably. Kill Cade.
Writing a letter to you, honestly.
Not because I don't love Cade, but what I have learned about myself is my husband likes to joke that I am the grumpy in our relationship and he's the sunshine. And I love writing grumpy characters because I love the snipey like banter and stuff. But in real life, Cade would drive me insane. Like I would be like, why are you so miserable? Like we would just like not. It would not be good. It would be grumpy, and we would get a divorce. So
there you go. Okay, I feel like that's a solid answer, though. I'm a little upset. I guess. Yeah, that's a little upset. Elsie, I was the person that she saw on social media who said "fuck, marry, kill," and she did say, "Wow, rude." And so I had a little insight into her answer, and I was shocked at first, but this makes sense.
Yeah, Kate, I feel like everybody loves Kate.
I love Kate.
Kate is the fan favorite. Mm-hmm.
You know who they love more than Kate, though? Willa.
Oh, Willa.
Did we all say different answers?
Yeah. Harvey.
I'm a Harvey girl.
Harvey, Willa. Well, that's the thing. If you did, it wouldn't matter if you fucked or married Kate, because Willa would kill you.
There you go.
No matter what, she's gonna kill you. So.
Speaking of Willa, I truly think she is so many people's like spirit animal, if you will. Like she is just such a hoot of a character, and she's so funny. What inspired her? Like, did she kind of just write herself? Like some of the stuff she says, like, let's go do hillbilly shit, like just has you on the floor laughing.
Yeah. I think Willa is such a special character because, I mean, I can't write that heroine every book where she wouldn't be who she is. And I think I have a couple friends in real life that are, the one described herself to me as an acquired taste and just like a lot, like she's just a lot, right? And so I think I drew from that a little bit, and she definitely kind of came to life on the page. Like I knew from Flawless that she would be kind of like sassy and unfiltered, and kind of the wilder one to Summer's more, professional vibe. But she also is a little bit, I've said before, like my internal monologue, like sometimes, you think things in your head sometimes, and like I would never say it out loud. Well, Willow would say it out loud.
She does, yeah.
Yeah, like if someone was mean to my kid, I would want to push them in the pool. But I wouldn't, but Willow would. Like her line is just like that little bit further. And I feel like she just was like the perfect like person to not be like put off by Cade's, persona and like facade. She just was like, what is this shit? Like, shape up. And whereas I would have just been like, flipped in the finger and been like, I'm out. Like, you're way too much work. She like got off on needling him, right? Like it was like fun for her. So I think she needed to be that way a little bit to balance him out. And yeah, she's a super special character. And I have Billy in Off to the Races is a little bit like that, but maybe a little more rough around the edges, and less sensitive than Willa. I feel like I really struck the balance with her just right of being like really sweet with Luke and just like a little bit vulnerable and insecure, but then really fun too. Like I think she's just really relatable, right? Like she didn't have huge career aspirations, and she didn't really know what she was doing, but she was okay with it. Like I feel like, people find little threads of her in themselves really easily.
Totally agree. I loved Willa. I think that was actually my first message to you ever. I was like, I love Willa. Like, I want to be her friend. Like, I wanted to go drink with her. She just is so cool.
That's what so many people are like, I don't even want to steal Cade from Willa. I just want to hang out with them both.
Yeah. Like, their dynamic is so perfect. Like you said, like, I feel like Willa, they went head to head. Like, that, what I mean? She didn't back down from him, and that's what he needed.
Yeah, totally.
I just love that book so much. Gosh.
Yeah, me too. It was a fun one to write. Yeah, it just like some books are harder and they like take a little more work to get down on the page, and like they're harder to like get my head around. But that one just, I don't know, it just like fell. Yeah, like I just was like, whoa, okay, it's done. Perfect. Wish they were all that easy.
So for these books in Chestnut Springs and in Gold Rush Ranch too, you do it as well, but text conversations are kind of like a big thing, right? So in Chestnut Springs, you start most, if not all of the chapters with a little text exchange. And we also get a little bit of that in Gold Rush Ranch. Are those easy for you to write? Do they kind of come naturally or
yes, they're like my catnip. They're like my catnip. So,
same.
It's like I get so much joy out of writing them, and I mean, I love them because like the way my brain works when I'm writing, I don't actually put them in until the end. When I go back through so that I can like tie, I always am like, you know, okay, they're doing this right now, but you know, where is Luke? Or, you know, Summer says she has this best friend, but like she never is talking to her best friend. So that doesn't make sense. Like I have always these little questions in my head of like little loose ends. Or, you know, like Harvey is like a dad to Jasper, but how do we know? Oh, because he's sending him text messages being like, where are you? How are you doing? Like those kind of dad sort of check-in text messages. So for me, it's like a way to satisfy that like kind of overwrought part of my brain that is trying to make the story as cohesive as possible. But it's also just like fun. Like you can add little, you know, like flirty conversations. Like there's a couple in Reckless right now that are just like super flirty and fun. And then, you know, they can be more emotional or they can be a secondary character. Yeah, it just is fun for me. And I feel like it makes the story more complete, but it also is an easy way to inject, you know, like some humor or whatever in an otherwise not funny situation.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I love the text. Those were some of my favorite parts too. Like I
feel like I could write a whole book of
just text exchange
letters or emails or whatever. Yeah.
You could do that, and you should do that actually.
Just
Harvey's phone.
My God, I would pay good money for that. He's so funny. Oh, I love him. But you mentioned Reckless, some text exchange in there. So we know that you just finished this book and it is releasing this summer. So that's Winter and Theo. Can you kind of share anything about that or what we can look forward to seeing in that book?
Yeah. So Winter and Theo are Grumpy Sunshine. Well, reverse, I don't know. Some people say reverse Grumpy Sunshine. Yeah. She is, she's grumpy, but she's also very damaged, and she's kind of come through the books and I think softened up the more we've gotten to know her. And I think getting to take a dive into her head is eye-opening and explains a lot of things. So yeah, you get her and you get Theo, who is a bull rider and kind of a wild child and fun and flirty and a bit of a man whore. And so like everything that she is just like you know, she's a doctor. She likes things tidy. She's, you know, coming out of a super, super messy marriage. And he seems like the last thing that she needs, but is he? So
we'll see.
Yeah, so their dynamic is really fun. Some of the tropes are, Grumpy Sunshine, Secret Baby, One Night Stand, he falls first. Like he falls first.
Okay.
And he is like, I don't know. For me, he is like the perfect combination of like swoony, funny, dirty. He's just.
I'm sold.
He's
I'm not
really
ready,
fun.
but I'm so
and
ready.
he just like really. It's kind of like the Cade Willa thing, where he just is like any of her kind of chilly, prickly exterior is just like child's play for him. Like he just, it's like his sole purpose is to lighten her up and like woo her, and it's so romantic. I just love them. Yeah.
I'm excited.
I need it immediately. I can't. I'm so excited. Literally everything you're saying, I'm like, this is going to be the perfect book.
This is one that fell to the page for me. So when people tell me they don't like babies in books right now, I'm just like, blinders, like don't talk to me.
We love them enough for everyone. So
perfect. You know, I feel like that's one of those tropes that the majority of people actually like. It's just like, they're not very loud about it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
I just love babies in books. I love to see men interact with like kids and
go all mushy
babies. Yeah. Yes. And like especially like a man whore, like could be kind of like, I don't know if he is tame to be, but like tame him a little and like a child just brings him to his knees.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh gosh. I got chills. I'm so excited.
Hey.
Of the 4 that only 3 are released, but out of the 4 that you have written, do you have a favorite book so far, or not really? Is that a hard question?
That's a hard question, because they're all, in a lot of ways, they're all so different. Yeah. Or like the feel of them is also different, which is part of like, I can't get excited about writing the same thing over, like I said before, like over and over again, right? So I know that Kate and Willa are maybe a little bit more funny than some of the other ones, and then Jasper and Sloane are maybe a bit more emotional than the other ones, but I feel like it just fits their characters. Yeah. I always go back to Flawless just because that book will always be so special. It was my first number 1. I love the cover photo. That book, I just feel like lived in my head for so long. So it's like, it's special to me. And then I always am feeling super attached to the book that I'm like in right now. So Reckless is feeling like my favorite right now, but that constantly changes. Like, I'm sure once I start the next one, I'll be like, this is my favorite. Right. So yeah, it's like, they're my children. I love them all.
As you should.
I'll accept it, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you mentioned the cover photos, which I'm always so interested about. You have discrete covers, and then you have like the model covers for all of the books in the series. For the model covers, do you actually like have shoots for those, or how does that work?
So all of them are a little bit different. The first photo was a shoot. Mm-hmm. And actually the couple in that photo, she is the photographer that I usually work with, but and her fiance model too. So that's her and her fiance on the cover. Yeah. And like, they have no business being that good looking. It's not fair. But yeah, so Madison and Patrick are on book 1, and then then book 2 is a engagement photo, like a true engagement photo for Heartless. Powerless is they are a married couple, but it was from a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Not one that I planned. I just picked it. Yeah. And then book 4, so Theo and Winter, is an actual engagement photo again that Madison took of a real couple. And then the couple for book 5 is a married couple, but I planned that shoot with Madison. And so yeah, they're all, I don't know. I love I love looking for photos and picking them. And like, when she sends me a set of them, I'm like so excited to open the email. It's like Christmas. So
do you get the photos before you have like the characters planned out? Because they fit the characters so well.
Yeah, I did with this one. I did. And I kind of knew like hair color sort of stuff. So I kind of assigned them based on that. And so, yeah, I do have I have my covers for like Reckless and book 5 all done already. So I know.
Wow. So that's how you picture them. Like, that's true to how you picture the characters.
Yeah, which is why it's sometimes hard when people are like, cast somebody. And I'm like, well, the guy on the cover is Kate. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
you're like, I already did.
I did. Look at the book.
Yeah. Yeah,
how stinking cool would it be to have your engagement picture be a book cover?
No, what the heck?
Right?
My husband and I have tons. I'll send them to
you. Perfect.
That's amazing.
So, okay, yeah, I guess talking about book 5, though, I think he's going to be my favorite. I just have a feeling. I don't know why. But can you tell us anything about that book, or when it's going to, have you written it? When's it going to be released, or?
I haven't written it. I haven't written it yet. It is called Hopeless. And it will release. It will release.
Like we're not supposed to know that, Elsie.
Yeah. What?
Surprise!
It's just public knowledge.
I think I've only mentioned it in my reader group, so that's okay.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's called Hopeless, and it will release in the fall, probably in October.
Oh my gosh.
Is kind of the general idea to wrap the series up. Yeah. And Bo, everybody loves Bo.
Yeah,
Like,
Bo.
I feel like there's barely any information about him, and I get emails about this character daily. Like messages, emails daily. I asked in my Instagram stories the other day what narrators people would like. And a few people like what they would like me to use in the future, and a few people just said Bo. I don't know. They've got Bo on the brain. Like the answer to anything is Bo. So yeah, everybody is very excited for that book. And yeah, he'll be the last book in the series. And I can tell you the main trope, there's going to be more that I add into it, but the main trope will be fake dating.
Oh God, Elsie.
Fake dating. Oh my gosh.
Too. Oh
yeah.
my
That's
gosh.
amazing. I think Bo too. I think that's why maybe at least me, like we only know certain things about him, so he's still a mystery. Like I just can't wait to find out more about him because everything I know already, like I love. So
somebody the other day was like, Bo is the love of my life. And I was like, wow, okay.
Doesn't take much.
Yeah, exactly. He just has to deploy a couple times and make a rude comment and like laugh at a joke and you're done. Okay.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm so excited, and I've seen it. We don't know who his love interest is yet. That's still a secret.
No, that one's under wraps.
Top secret. Okay.
There are multiple in my reader group. There are like threads upon threads with people pulling quotes or like lines from Flawless or from Heartless, like with ideas. So,
oh my God.
It's like a full conspiracy theory happening. Yeah.
Do you know when you'll announce it?
I think that like I'll have the pre-order up for it when Reckless is about to release, and I think that the blurb will give that away. Yeah.
Have we met her? You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't want to answer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you've met her. Yep.
Okay. I'm excited. I'm not going to say who I think because I don't want to spoil it, but I think I know. So I'm interested.
Lots of people are guessing. Yeah. A lot of people thought it was going to be winter, which was interesting for me, but that's how I felt. Like when I was like, really? Oh, okay.
Wrong, but okay.
Wrong. You're giving us 3 books in 1 year. I can't.
Yeah, what?
Thank you so much.
Blessed.
It's a bit of a blur, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it keeps. But I think I don't know. Now I'm just like I'm into it, right? I'm having fun, so keep going.
Keep the stories flowing.
Yeah.
No complaints from us.
So we know he's not getting a book, but Harvey, I saw in your newsletter, is getting some extras, I believe. Emily has, a Harvey kink, so just want to see what we can expect from him.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've never had like an age gap or like a grandpa kink ever in my life. Like it's never in books and real life, never been a thing. But Harvey just does something for me.
You and everyone else. It's like Bo and Harvey are like my number one asked questions, which is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's his humor. Like he's just a dirty old man.
Totally. Yeah. He's a little bit unhinged. That's why he's so fun though. Like everybody's like a book and I'm like, man, I could not write a full book of Harvey because I would be like duct taping his mouth shut. I would be like, stop it. But I love injecting him into like a family dinner scene with Harvey is like my bread and butter. And you get one of those in Reckless. So,
okay.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So he won't be getting a book. And I don't even know for sure what I'm going to do in terms of like bonus content. But I do have some ideas for, short little stories for him here and there.
Aww.
And I'll figure out a way to incorporate those as I go. But you'll see him in like all the books. So you'll get a storyline for like kind of a removed storyline of what's going on with Harvey. Yeah, that'll kind of be it for now. But yeah, he's around. He's around saying inappropriate things still, you know, there's can't stop, won't stop.
Giving the front yard a blowjob.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah. Well, and he's like, he's based on someone I know, which I think is part of my like mental block with people being like, I would read like a spicy Harvey book, and I'm like, oh no. I wouldn't write it.
I don't know if I love him that much to read a whole book, like a spicy Harvey book, but I think his humor is just what's so funny, like his interactions. Because
we all know like a man, or maybe like, or know of, like, it's just such like a, I don't know, like he's I think on my plot sheets he's like pushing 70, and so like I feel like people, when they hit a certain age, like just their give a fuck meter for like the things they say, they're just like, who cares? Like, I don't care if you judge me, and they just say stuff. And I feel like Harvey's at that point in his life, and he just gets a kick out of it. Yeah,
I agree for sure. Love him.
Special guy. I mean, seriously. We talked a little bit about Gold Rush Ranch. So I kind of want to go back to that because I'm in my Gold Rush Ranch era right now.
Yay!
I just started book 4 last night. I've been loving all of them so much. So you actually, like we talked about, you wrote the series prior to Chestnut Springs, but I feel like so many people are finding you and starting with Chestnut Springs. So we're trying to bring the love back to Gold Rush Ranch.
Yeah.
So can you kind of give us a little bit of a high level overview of this series? There's a lot of like horse racing, like you said, jockeying. We also get to see Violet, who I don't think Emily and I even knew this because we both started with Chestnut Springs, that she had her own book. Emily was reading and she was like, wow, Violet needs her own book. And then she was like, okay.
Yeah.
She has one.
I had no idea, because she was such an interesting storyline if you start with Chestnut Springs, like this sister who just isn't there anymore. And so that's why I was like, you know what? Like, she should write a Violet story. And Jess is like, Emily.
So how can just give us kind of the lowdown for Gold Rush Ranch?
Yeah. So Gold Rush Ranch is set kind of outside of Vancouver, at the base of the Cascades, leading up into the mountains. It's a horse racing training facility and breeding farm, and it's found family. So all the characters are not necessarily related, but they are all based on that farm or in that general area. And so you've got like the horse race trainer, the owners, the jockey, the competing stable, the veterinarian, and then the little sister and the guy, like the mountain recluse in kind of the last book. Like I said, like I know horses really well. And so that was an easy thing for me to incorporate. And while I didn't do horse racing, I worked with like a lot of horses will come off the track and they start so early that they can easily start a second career. Like they're done racing by the time they're only, 4 or 5 years old. So we would get them and they would become jumpers. So I had worked with horses who'd come from the track. And it's just like a really interesting, like that track culture and horse racing culture is just really interesting to me because there's this super ritzy upper echelon, like just insane amount of money on the front end of it, right? With like the sales and the races and the big hats and the, the fancy kind of derby days. And then behind the scenes, there's like all that hard work and like the realities of farm life and, falling off and getting injured and, animals getting injured, and kind of like removed, right? There's like everything that happens at the track and then there's everything that happens at the farm behind the scenes. So that was just kind of like a fun setting for me in my head. So it kind of just follows those people through the ups and downs of that life and finding love all on one farm.
I mean, there's such, you definitely get both of like like you were saying, like the upper like business side of it, and then most of it is like on the ranch and behind the scenes. But it was for someone like me who doesn't know anything about that, it was just kind of fun to see. Like, I don't know, like it was just an interesting experience, and I was here for it.
Yeah.
I also like the found family aspect, and I think we do get it in Chestnut Springs as well. But I feel like it's like the female friendships in this book are just like goals for me. Like you read these characters, who is Billy, Violet, Nadia, and Mira, and it's just like I want to be in that friend group. I'm jealous.
Yeah. I love writing heroines. Like I love giving them a good storyline and having them be champions for each other in that friend group. I mean, you can see them a little bit in Powerless, but that friend group is pretty awesome for sure.
Yeah. I'm like jealous that I'm not in it.
That's the little the little snippet that I got in Powerless, because I haven't read this series yet, but just like seeing that girl gang in Powerless, I could just tell like they would be fun to read about. Like they're also I don't know. They all have different personalities, it seems. Like, I think even Sloan was explaining, well, Billy's kind of reminds me of Willow. And, like, each person. So I'm excited to read the series.
Yeah, and you can read them out of order. Like, people are always like, where should I start? And I still always say Flawless, just because I feel like that's what's popular right now. I also feel like my writing has grown a lot, so I'm like, start with Flawless, and then, you know, you can go back. You're not going to miss or be lost in Chestnut Springs without Gold Rush Ranch. They are separate. I mean, I know they cross over, but you're not lost.
Right, totally. But you should also read Gold Rush Ranch, because
yes, I do love Gold. Yeah,
I'm going to. At least you got one reader in me.
Stefan is still one of my favorite heroes. He's book 3 in Gold Rush Ranch. Yeah,
he's so Cade. I have a special place in my heart for Cade. But I told Elsie I would kill Cade for Stefan, because he's like next level.
Yeah, he is.
I'm excited.
He's he's like a little hottie, and he's blonde, which we always joke about. Like blonde. This is actually really funny.
True.
Emily and I are both married to blonde men, and I'm like, ew, a blonde man in a book? Never.
Yeah. I like have to catch myself, because my husband will be like I'm literally blonde with blue eyes. And I'm like, deception, babe.
You won. You proved me wrong. I'm the same way with like, but I was like, man, like I can't just have all these dark haired, like, he's got gray eyes. He's got blue eyes. He's got like onyx eyes. I was like, okay, I gotta give somebody a little like variety here. But one of my favorite parts in that book is like the heroine is like, you know, she's resisting and she's like, you're not even my type. And he was like, why not? And she was like, blonde hair. And he was like, that's okay. We can dye it. I was just like, yes, this is the energy.
I love that. He also goes, I'm not that blonde. Not that dirty blonde.
That was like me injecting myself into there a little bit.
Such a good book. Oh gosh. I'm still not over it. And the ending, I cry. Anyway.
Yeah. That one, I was like, there's like a, whatever. I always feel like there's sometimes like little twists in my books or little like jaw-dropping moments. And I feel that one, I was like, yes, this is a good one. Mm-hmm.
It was a good one. I was not expecting it, but
I'm antsy. I feel like I'm in the loop. I'm going to start reading today.
A photo finish has a good one too. Yeah.
Oh,
I think you'll really like Billy too, because she gives Willa vibes, but she's also just different. And one of my favorite things about Billy is how much all of the other characters love Billy. Like, I think you bring it up in the books. Like, you can just tell, like, she has so much love, but she's, like, feisty and fierce. But, like, they recognize that, but they're also like, you're never going to find someone like Billy.
I love it already. Is she book 3? She's
book 1.
Oh, book 1.
She's
okay.
Book 1. Book 3. Stefan's heroine is a veterinarian, and she's very, like, analytical and a little standoffish. Like, I don't want to say she's grumpy, but she's not like warm and fuzzy. until he kind of warms her up.
He does warm her up.
He does warm her up. Yep.
Speaking of warming her up,
I was just going to say,
it's a great
speaking
segue.
Okay.
Go ahead, Em. Give it to us.
So we have to take a second to talk about the spice because we've already established that we love the spice in books.
Yeah.
Truly is just these. I think the more we read, they get spicier, in my opinion. I don't know. Or maybe Heartless was spicier. I don't know. They're all so great. But like, what is your process for writing these? Like, do you kind of have it planned out? Like, okay, at the birthday party, they're going to do this. Or do they just come to you?
Literally.
Yeah, I think I always have like a thing, like I have like a line in my head, like one thing that I know I want the hero to say, or one thing that I know I want to happen. And it kind of goes from there. This is one of those things that like I don't totally know if I can like explain it. It just sort of, I think I black out. People are always like, "Oh, do you get all like worked up when you write, or like do you set the mood?" And I'm like, "No, I just like I just kind of black out and write it, and I don't know, access like the lizard part of my brain or something." Because like if you meet me in real life, people are like, I don't think they would expect the level of spice that's in it necessarily. So yeah, and I think I always have like one little thing. Like I knew, spoiler alert if you haven't read Powerless yet, I guess. I don't know if this is even a spoiler anymore with the number of TikToks that there have been about it. But I knew that with his wounds, he was kind of going to have this like need for control. That wasn't like Christian Grey cheesy levels, but like that, you know, I knew I was going to have a moment where she was going to be like, I can handle it. Like, show me what, like, give me your worst and I'll prove to you that like I can do it. And then he's like, okay. And he's like, crawl. And she's like,
she did.
She's like, let's fucking go. So I don't, but I was like, to me, that made sense for them. Like, it was like, yes, she was frustrated and she was like, just show me, like, just tell me something that's true. And he was like, okay. And then, so I knew I wanted that to be a moment for them. And then I kind of like bounced off of that. Like I knew that I think I had written down, a line for Cade that was like, you know, keep barking at me like that. And so I knew like, it's always like this moment of tension where like something happens that I really thrive on. And then with Flawless, I knew it was going to be, the cowboy hat thing.
Love
that he was. Yeah, and I knew I wanted to incorporate the whipped cream because of the whole milk thing. Like I just was like, this is so like I have to bring the whipped cream along. So writing that scene, I was like, where is the whipped cream right now? Is it in her hand? Did they drop it? Did they like? Anyways. So I always have like a thing, and I think I also like, for me, I don't necessarily like, I like a little bit of a slower burn. Like I need that first part to be really believable to me because maybe it's just me, but like when I was dating, like, I mean, I've been married for a long time now, but when I was dating, it was always like, does he, doesn't he, should I put my hand here? Shouldn't I put my hand there? Like, I just was never the type of person that was like, I don't know, just super assertive. So I like that slow build and that trust and those little touches. And like that's what keeps me flipping the pages in a book. But then sometimes when the burn is too slow, you like miss on the spice. And I also really like the spice. So I try to give like, 3 is kind of my number, like sex scenes that I think are like make up for lost time, sort of. Yeah.
I think it's a good balance.
Yeah,
I think that like the tension and the slow burn is just enough. So when we get there, it's like a rubber band. Like you're ready to snap, but it's not like too much. I think it's a perfect balance.
Yeah. And I also think like a lot of the time with spice, for me anyways, the best part is almost like even the lead up to that. Like the actual like, bumping and grinding part. Like, I mean, there's only so many words, right? Where you're like, thrust, slide, but it's like, it's like the things they say and the motions they make leading up to it that I think is like actually the spiciest for me.
Yeah.
I agree.
Goodness
For sure.
gracious.
Do you have a favorite in all the books, like a favorite sex scene that you wrote between them or any of the characters? Or like a one-liner?
Like when Jasper fucked the ring right off Sloane's finger.
Yeah, that was...
My heart stopped.
Jasper really like ripped he went from shy to just like kind of feral for her, hey?
Oh my God. I loved it.
Yeah, that was, I do love those little one-liners. And I could probably pick one almost out of every book. I have that when I have a hard time listening to my own audiobooks, but I did like I took a clip of that like lose the fucking ring and crawl. Like I had a clip of it that I was like sending to people I knew when I got my files. I was like, look!
That's so exciting.
And then in Flawless, I think there's like, do you know where pretty princesses belong? Which was like on their knees.
Tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good steam. For our listeners, there is so much steam in all of the books. It's all so well done. It's so hot, so spicy. And there's a lot of it, which if you're into that, it's good. So
yeah. So I don't know if I have a favorite. There's a couple there. Honestly, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a couple really good ones in Reckless that are like at the forefront of my mind right now. So
I'm excited.
I want you to spoil them for me. For myself, I would like to be spoiled.
When I get the audio, I'll just like slide it into your DMs. I'll be like, this is the line.
I would love nothing more, actually.
Jess, you can just go.
I won't even say anything. I won't even say anything. I'll just drop that in there.
I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to be like, hello, Elsie. Where's my clip? Okay, so you obviously write a lot of country boys. Or do you call them country boys?
Yeah.
Okay.
There,
I have that shirt too.
Do you? Yeah, in my country boy era. Yeah.
So what is this something you want to continue writing on in like future series? Do you want to expand at all? I'm not mad either way. I'll stay in my country boy era forever. But what outside of Chestnut Spring series is kind of on your docket?
Yeah, I do love a country boy. But I think it's for me, it's like even more the setting. And I always say country boy because I think cowboy is like very specific. Like, you know, Jasper's a country boy. He grew up on that ranch, but he is not a cowboy. He's a hockey player. And I think even with Theo, like, yes, he's a bull rider, but that's like, it's almost more like for him a sport, right? Like I don't think he would identify as like a cowboy necessarily. Whereas like Rhett really like lives that whole like vibe and look. And then, you know, Kate is working on the ranch. So I try to just like, try to not be like, you know, the cowboy like covers with like the, you know, the naked chest and the cowboy hat. Because I think it's just a little more Canadian maybe, or a little more all-encompassing. So I like the setting. And I think I'll stay in small town. But that's one of the things I love about it is like I can have an athlete in a small town. I can have a celebrity in a small town.
Yeah.
It's just like not as limiting. So I'll probably always deliver like one cowboy ranch guy country, at least per series. I do, because I like a man who works with his hands. I
love that.
Don't we all?
But I also love, I was it on another, I don't know who I was talking to, but they called it competency porn. And for me, that's like very applicable. Like, I just want my hero to be really good at something. Like, I don't care if it's fixing cars or herding cows or riding a bull or painting or like, I just want them to be like really exceptional at something. I find that very attractive. So I've like loosely started planning a 2024 series. And I'll probably pull a character or two from here or there that you've maybe already met. So
okay.
I won't say who, but because I'm not committing to anything, like it's still very up in the air. But yeah, there will be a good blend of country boys and always athletes I come back to a little bit. And I do have an idea for someone who would probably be considered more of a city boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
all in a small town.
I love a small town, right? Yeah.
That's perfect.
I am like a series girl. Like I love to kind of be dropped into a world and be able to stay in there for a long, long time. So I love series. Do you think that you will continue to write series only, or do you think that you will have like a standalone? Because I mean, technically all of these could be standalones, but they're, you know, within the same like world.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see myself. I do have a couple ideas for a standalone, or even like I personally love a duet as long as they're released, you know, like 1 month apart or something. So yeah, you're left on a cliffhanger, but that just, I don't know. Clearly I have a thing for anticipation because I'm like looking forward to that second half or that resolution is satisfying to me. So I could see myself doing a standalone or a duet at some point. But I just have so many ideas. And right now I think that, like you're saying, is like, I also know that readers love getting like sucked into like a whole family or a whole town or a whole world where they get the anticipation of that next book or that next character.
Right.
And I mean, like, I love watching people guess, you know, even before like Reckless was announced, like which book it would be, who Winter would end up with, who Bo would end up with, like that. That blows my mind that people are that invested and that excited about something I made up that they are like talking to me about it. And so I know that people,
so amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
That's good for you. That's, I feel like you ended up where you're supposed to be, like going from, you know, riding the horses to finance to editing and now writing these books that like
everything all in one.
Yeah. Like it's so amazing. And
maybe you'll write us a finance bro. I hope not.
Maybe.
Yeah,
it ended in scandal. He embezzled millions of dollars, and now he's living in a small town under a pseudonym.
That's just
welcome to my brain. Turn it on its head.
Yeah, give the finance bros some good grace over there. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, take them down a few pegs.
They need it. I'll tell you what. I work in finance or, you know, accounting, so I deal with them a lot.
Fair enough.
Oh gosh. I think that's all of the questions that we have for you today. I don't know. Do you have questions for us?
No.
Flip the interview. No,
flip the interview.
We've never asked anyone that. That was new.
I'm just waiting for the Fuck, Marry, Kill version of the Gold Rush Ranch series. I'll be stalking your stories to see what did people respond with.
Okay, only one other person said kill Cade, which I was surprised by.
I'm just kidding.
Who?
Most people said marry Jasper, fuck Cade.
Rat.
I was gonna guess that.
Yeah.
Poor Rhett.
I would have guessed that. Yeah, I would have guessed that too. He's very marryable, I feel like.
He is. He's husband material for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Cade's just daddy material. Literally.
He is literally.
People just didn't want to make Luke an orphan. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. On the other hand, are like ruthless. Kill him. Yeah. Okay. So fuck, marry, kill. Well, I haven't barely met Griff yet, so I am going to give you Stefan, Vaughn. Okay. And I'm blanking. Cole.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, marry, kill.
This is going to be in my mind as I'm reading this.
Oh man. That's hard.
You pressed up, Elsie.
I know. I meant do it on your social media, not ask me. It's okay. It's so hard because Vaughn is like the first hero I wrote, and I feel like he's a very like he could be a real person. Like, he's not as like book boyfriendy, so I'm like irrationally attached to him. But I would probably marry Stefan because Stefan. And I don't know.
I'd fuck Cole. Cole's a little dirty guy.
Yeah. Probably Cole. Poor Vaughn. We've been together the longest. I'll sacrifice him and fuck Cole.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good answer, but I'll let you say.
I could marry Cole too. He's tortured, but he's grumpy, but like he's way more tortured than Cade. So
that's true.
There's like a sensitive side to him I still enjoy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aww.
Yeah.
Now I think about that.
I like a sensitive hero. I do. I like a sensitive hero. So.
Also, this is unrelated, but Violet's kind of character, reading about her in Chestnut Springs and then reading her book, I was like, this is unexpected. Okay, Violet.
Yeah. Sassy.
I don't want to give any spoilers, but you're not going to expect what Violet
is up to.
I wish I had more to add to this.
You know what you're doing this afternoon. Yeah.
Literally, I'm like, clear my weekend.
Emily will too. She'll read all of the books in like one day.
I do. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I think that we can say though that we're officially friends with Elsie Silver. So
yes, definitely.
Yes, best of friends. So if you like this episode and you want to continue reading along with us and listening to the podcast, make sure to follow us over on Instagram at Friends with Books Pod, where we announce all of our upcoming episodes and buddy reads and more exciting things like this. So keep an eye out.
Hey. Yeah, yes. And thank you so much, Elsie, for being here.
Yeah, oh my gosh, no worries.
You're welcome
Thank you
back
for having
anytime.
So much fun.
So excited for Reckless. We're so excited for Beau's book. And I'll be waiting for my audiobook snippet.
Just dirty clips. You got it.
Dirty clips. All right.
You got it.
Bye.
See you later.
Thank you.